Hello everyone, welcome to Kalpa Kendra Tarot. Today we are going to do a new reading on the topic Who Are You Becoming? The Big Shift. Every time I have to say the name of the topic, I go completely blank. It's like I'm looking at my life from the moment I was born. It's very funny. But anyway, so that's the topic for today. And we will be looking at who are you essentially going to become. I'm not going to delve too much into who you were, but if it comes through, uh, then I'm going to share the messages with you. By who you were, I meant that who you used to be in the past, and then look into who you are becoming. That is not something that I intend to do, but if messages come through, then I'm going to share them. I have prepared 3 readings for you today, and you have 3 cards denoting the groups. For group 1, I have Melody of Thought. For group 2, I have Enlightened Leadership. And for group 3, I have Mindfulness. Okay, so you can pause now whenever you want to and select a group based on the one that you feel most drawn to. Otherwise, I will see you at the click of your timestamp. Group 1. So if you have chosen the Melody of Thought, welcome to your reading. The card Melody of Thought, let me show it to you, talks about finding your passion. And that's, yeah, I hope you can see it. That's pretty much what your reading is all about, Group 1. In the next phase of your life, in terms of who you are becoming, you're becoming the person who is now in sync with their life purpose and is now going to find what they are meant to do. Now, let me tell you something about finding your life purpose, Group 1. At one point, you may be doing something in life and then you get interested in something else, then you go on to do something else. Okay, so whatever you're doing at any point in your life is definitely linked to your life purpose. Your life purpose is that you be involved and you go through life in a certain way, and the entire thing, your entire life, is your purpose. So if somebody says that one thing is my sole purpose and other things are not, what they're essentially referring to is that mission, that one important mission that you have come to fulfill, which only you can do. Sometimes we end up taking jobs like, say, if you work in a bank, and what you do is you count the money the people are depositing, and then you put it in their account. Okay, so that job that you're doing is not like only you can do it, or if you didn't do it, like it only you know how to do it. It's a job that has a particular description and anyone can do it. Okay, anyone, say, who has the ability to count money and anything, count money, put in the details in the computer, would be able to do it. So it's not essentially linked to you, something that only you can do. Obviously, you need to have that element of being able to enjoy that in order to do something like that. Like if you find someone who's like not at all interested in counting money, putting the details, and not interested in desk job, would likely not take that job. But it is something that does not call upon your unique abilities. But sole purpose is usually linked to our unique abilities. Okay, it is something that brings out what we have brought from the collective consciousness to come and deliver onto this planet, or any place that we go to. Okay, that would be what they mean by sole purpose. So here, what you are waking up to is something that you are meant to do. One, it could be your sole purpose itself. What is that unique thing that you have come here to deliver and come here to give to the planet, and that is what you are waking up to. Or it could be waking up to the very thing that you're supposed to do at this moment. And obviously that is linked to your life purpose, because this is your life, and finishing each of these stages and doing different things that you're meant to do in different stages is the purpose of your life. Okay, So here it is talking about finding your passion. So if you have not felt, or if you have not known what you are essentially passionate about, or what makes your heart skip a beat, or what makes your heart sing, something like that, that which when you do, you don't even look at the time, or you don't even feel tired, that thing you are getting to know. And that is not coming to you easy. You have been through episodes where you have realized how drained you feel, having invested your energy in things where you are probably only carrying on with what you were doing because of the sustenance it was providing you, the money involved, or you had to get a degree or take care of people. You probably had a child that you had to take care of. You probably had parents. You probably had, circumstances which required you to earn money, and you were invested in those things. But that was not what was fulfilling you, and it may have taken you a while to understand that it was not fulfilling you. Okay, now you're stepping into an episode where you are understanding what is the thing that also scares you, because where our potential lies, where our biggest dreams also tend to make us feel the most scared to go approach them. A quote by Plato comes to mind, that you can easily forgive a child who's afraid of the dark. The tragedy of life is when an adult is afraid of their own light. And often we are those adults who are afraid of their own light, afraid of everything that we dream of coming true, and us not being able to handle it, or us not being able to good enough to claim it or live that life. So those are the fears that are blocking it, and you're now taking a very necessary step towards your dreams, towards finding your passion. Here I will describe the card a little. You can see one younger person here and one older person supporting the younger child. It basically shows that the card basically talks about one person having made some poor decisions in her life, and then asking for guidance of um, angel, or I think she's the queen fairy, or like if you can remember the Cinderella story, fairy godmother, something like that for her. So it could be talking about your spirit guides, who's basically asking the universe, spirit guides, and angels, God, whatever you communicate, like whatever energy cluster you communicate with, or whatever you call it, you showing up in front of them for guidance, asking for their guidance and seeking their approval in what you want to do, and asking them, is it right for me? Is this what is meant for me? And this time you are going to get the guidance. Now the moment has come when the guidance will be offered to you. Certain essential message, like the messages that have come through, these are certain essential messages that you need to know for this phase and who you are going to become. That is what we will be discussing. But in this card you see, they are standing on clouds. Okay, and these clouds also look like snow. Here you have two suns. Like this card talks about two star system, or sorry, no, not two star system, binary star system. Here we live in the solar system, which is basically revolving around the sun, and the sun being the main object in our galaxy. It is called the solar system after the sun, right? But here there is binary star system, and it has two suns. Okay, and it basically symbolizes guidance and source, the power, like the guidance from source coming from two different sources. And also there are, like, in this cloud or snow looking structure, snow like structure, they are called clouds, but it also looks like snow. You have sunflowers growing. Okay, sunflowers growing from the snow or clouds, but that doesn't happen. So here it symbolizes, and this girl is holding sunflowers in her left hand, so, and dove in the other hand. So it is like you could not have imagined the guidance or the things that will be happening for you now, because now you will be helped and aided by the universe to go on your path to, the universe will come. It's like literally lift you up from one situation and put you in another situation, and that is the kind of guidance that you will get now. And now you'll realize that the things that you could never imagine, like the sunflowers that she has in her hand, they don't grow on clouds, they don't grow in like in snow, but they are here. Okay. And birds for me is like spirit guides. So you will be now helped also by your spirit guides, and you will understand more about life now from this episode that you are stepping into. So who you are becoming is somebody who is more aware of what they are meant to do here, and the veil is being slowly lifted from your life purpose is what is happening for you. So now let's look at the cards. First card that you have is gossip. This card, being green, this is from the heart chakra oracle. No. Is the heart chakra? No. This is from the chakra wisdom oracle cards. Yeah. So these cards, because of the colors that they come in, symbolize a particular chakra and also come with a certain story, which is meant to guide the person in a, like, guide you in order to understand uh, a specific situation in your life differently, or give you a different perspective into a certain situation, right? So the first card, gossip, talks about a woman who was the topic of, um like, she was the gossip of the town, and people used to talk about her, not in a very, like, not very nice things about her, they used to say. And they never really got to know her, how. And it only came to light when, like, people used to only talk about her in a way like she's weird, and the scarves she wears, and her house and everything she did, and you can see how people are looking at her in a very judgmental sort of way. And eventually when she dies, the people of the town get to see her paintings, which were in her house, where she painted the town in, like, in a very beautiful way. Like, she had a very loving view of the town. In her heart she only held, love and compassion for everyone in the town. And so the people of the town then feel very, very sad and disappointed to have never known her. Okay. So this card essentially talks about you paying very close attention to what you are gossiping about, because you saying something about, like, you gossiping about something, or someone gossiping about you, is only doing that because they don't have the capacity to understand you. Okay. Gossip, in, like, in its essential element, is misunderstanding. Why else would you gossip about someone? The card comes with the message that I've never met a person in my life that I did not like. So it talks about every person being unique, and every person, like, the distance between you and another person, or any perspective, a person representing a perspective, would be of understanding. That the only thing that will make you distant from a person is your incapacity to understand them. So that is the energy that you're understanding, that if people are gossiping about you, or if people go on to gossip about you in the next phase, it might happen so that they do. But understand that it comes from their incapacity to understand you, or having never experienced somebody like you, or things that you are saying, because they don't have an understanding of this, they don't have an experience of ever coming across something like this. They will tend to gossip about it. Okay. Then you have grief here. This woman is grieving the loss of her pet, a pet which was, like, very dear to her. And people are saying that, she should just get on, like, get on with her life and move on. And it's not the end of the world that her pet has died, but she knows that she is grieving the loss of her pet, and it is completely all right to do so. And it is only when these emotions are done teaching her, reminding her, making her relive. And grief has a very special purpose. Okay, grief has a special purpose of making us confront our emotions in a very honest manner, in a manner that we probably do not like. We do not experience things, like you might not actively go through how much you go through the understanding of how much you love a person or what you like about the person until and unless that moment of separation comes. Okay, so grief has this special purpose of reminding you of everything, in a flash, or um, by taking whatever amount of time it needs. It kind of makes you remember, and makes you, it definitely, the purpose of it is to make you honor your emotions and to remind you of everything. Like, it comes to the surface, everything that you felt comes to the surface, and you have to allow yourself that moment to grieve. And it is only people who know how to grieve well, how to know it. There's a, yeah, I remember someone else saying it, I think a Buddhist monk, a very popular Buddhist monk. I will just find the name of the monk. Wait, sorry, I remember now. So it was by Vietnamese Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh. Okay, and I don't know how I forgot that, but yes, he was saying in one of his sanghas, I think, that if you know how to grieve well, if you know how to, the purpose that sadness comes to serve, then you will have lived it properly. Okay, then it will have served its purpose. So give yourself a moment to grieve. If there is, like, whenever you go through, the next chapter of your life is going to involve saying goodbye to or grieving the loss of something. It could be that you are ascending on your journey and you are actively leaving behind old versions of yourself, which involves also leaving behind certain people that you were close to. And you could also be grieving the loss of something that you have lost in the last chapter of your life. You might move on to the next phase, remembering everything that you have lost, and realize that you're still not over it, while you find yourself between energies like gossip and confusion. You will be made to understand your emotions at depth about how you feel about the situation, how you feel about this current phase of your life, and it might, strangely enough for you, involve a lot of grief. Okay, so with two heart chakra cards here, I can see work being done on your heart chakra, where your heart is opening up to emotions that is going to give you the capacity to love well or love in a new way. Okay, that is, and you see, creativity is also linked to heart in a way. Like, when you understand what you love, it is only when you understand what you are, like what your heart and emotions are invested in, that you are able to identify what you want to do. So what is, I think, I do associate it with, um I love, yeah, it is only when you are able to understand that, um, what you love, I love heart chakra, that you can move on to the next one, solar plexus. Okay, the yellow one of I do. You can only do something you love only when you have an understanding of what you love. So your heart chakra is opening up. Now you have confusion. Confusion here, the story is about this woman being confused about whether or not she should have broken up with her ex, and she goes on to climb this the faith mountain with the clouds, silver lining of clouds following, like silver clouds following her, and she is like as she's headed up the mountain, she also has someone else waiting for her. Like in terms of love, she has another option, but she does not know what to do, and she's still figuring out whether she was right in making the decision regarding her ex. But the clouds follow her as she goes up the mountains, and when she reaches the top, she gets a view of the town, and of everything, of the bigger picture, and she knows exactly what her heart wants. Okay, so it is only by staying in the energy of confusion, by honoring that everything, see, confusion comes, this is something that I have felt, that confusion has a very strange dynamic to it, in the sense that you are only confused because there are more than one thing that you can do about a situation. Okay, it's like more than one being two, three, four, five. So it's like only when you have options that you are confused. So confusion confusion actually serves a very beautiful purpose, in the sense that every option that you have in front of you, when you are in the energy of confusion, you will mentally come to know about every pros and con associated with every option. Okay, pros and cons associated with every option. So you are basically in a very, like you are in a mode of research, mental mode of research, or mode of mental research, and it is a necessary period to be like, it is a very necessary thing to go through, and a period to be in. If somebody tells you, oh, you're just confused, don't be confused, confusion is unnecessary. No, honoring the fact, or letting the clouds follow you, letting the cloud of confusion follow you, is extremely necessary for you to again know your heart, what your heart wants, and eventually come to that moment of clarity. Honor the fact that just when, like, you don't have to take any decision when you're confused. Honor the fact that you are confused now, and it is only happening because there is something essential that you need to know about the situation which you don't yet know. Okay, and it is in divine timing, when the cloud clears up, you will know it. Okay, now just below gossip we have forgiveness. Here the story talks about, okay, one thing I have to say about this card is it talks about crown chakra, and also a lot of downloads coming through. So confusion is you also interacting, definitely activating your mind, but also interacting actively with the universe about what you should do, about being open about the questions. Okay, and this card has a very interesting message, which says that every silver lining has a cloud. Okay, so that's very interesting. Like every cloud has a silver lining, has been reversed here, and it just goes on to talk about, like, every time you come up with clarity, it is the result of being confused about it once. And clarity is something that you can reach only when you have resolved every aspect of doubt, or every which way you could have doubted it. When you have resolved that, only when you've been able to resolve it will you reach clarity. So that's the purpose confusion serves, beautifully illustrated. Now this card, forgiveness. Here this rhino feels that, she I don't think that she feels any judgment for her mother being a heavy drinker, doesn't take it personally. But rhino has this dream of one day becoming a family pet, and one day a fire, or some gun violence breaks out, or something happens, and this child is this rhino finds this child and goes to safety, like takes this child to safety, and then they are found like this, resting in each other's arms. And then this rhino is shot with a sleeping dart or something, and then the rhino is accepted as the family pet. Here the fact that the rhino practices forgiveness by not taking anything personally, and the card has this message that we don't have to forgive, we don't forgive others, we only forgive ourselves for judging others. Okay, so it's a beautiful message, like, to not take anything personally, and understand that whatever others are doing, they are coming from a place of if they are hating you, then they are coming from a place of hatred. They have learned hatred, or they have learned whatever they are putting you through as, as a conditioning, as a behavior, and they are as much under the spell of whatever they are making you suffer, and they are suffering from it just as much. If you are able to understand that and hold compassion for them, then you will, with forgiveness, you can form an understanding which is closer to the truth. Okay, so this talks about understanding. This talks about understanding. You are being asked to understand how others are acting towards you, or you will be now able to understand in this next phase. You will be able to understand, become that person who is developing that understanding, not only about other, not only about us, about herself or himself, but about others as well. Okay, where you are acting from that understanding which comes from being able to perceive everything with kindness and compassion, being able to reach the truth of everything. Grief is followed by joy. Okay, so now that you have understood how to honor grief for the purpose that grief comes to serve, and you're now being able to put into perspective everything that you went through that made you experience grief, you are being able to welcome joy. Joy has been described in this spread, like in this card, as somebody who appears like nobody really knows joy, nobody really understands joy or knows joy that way, but every time joy enters a situation or enters the frame, everything becomes better. People who are grieving, suddenly start feeling happy, or the grief kind of leaves the room, and serious discussions become more understanding and more melodious, more light, lighter. And joy, just when TV crew appears, or people who can find out about joy or research joy or go into the depths of joy, or why are you joyful, or they want to focus on joy, they want to cover joy, joy disappears. So just when TV crew, like, it's very symbolic, just when TV crew appears, it's like your, when you try to trap, understand, and then cage joy, joy disappears. So this is just a fleeting thing that you have to enjoy without even trying to understand. Like, you can never really understand joy, because if you try to mentally, joy is a feeling, okay, essentially a feeling. If you try to mentally deconstruct why you are happy, you might just end up losing it. Okay, you might just go into the energy of grief. You're like, I have so many reasons to not be happy, then why am I happy? But the more you are able to navigate through grief and understand and practice forgiveness, and understand that whatever makes you distant from another person is your incapacity to understand them. So the more understanding that you develop, and understanding is compassion, kindness, you will step closer to joy. Okay, the more you go into the energy of love, because what is this creation based upon? Really, love, right? The more you flow into that energy, you will be able to experience joy. And the next card is like, just beneath confusion, is mysticism. So as you honor that energy of confusion, knowing very well that you have to now remain in this energy to gain clarity, and just because you don't have clarity now doesn't mean that you will never have clarity, and it doesn't really mean that that you have to take decision now. It is only when, like, now is not the time to take decision, now is the time to take stay in the energy of confusion, let it do its job, let it teach you whatever it has to teach you, all the pros and cons, all the permutations, combinations, then only you will move to clarity. As you wake up to this, you will be like, the energy of mysticism will also follow you. This card talks about the story where a woman called up and said that she was going to show her, like, she's going to come to a dinner where a few people, I think 4 people, were invited to dinner, and she calls up and says that she too is going to come up, come for dinner that night. And the people who organized the dinner were confused, in the sense that, confused again, like, she was not invited, who is she? and they started thinking that the four people who were invited, if one of them wanted to bring her, they would have mentioned her, or she would have mentioned that I have been invited by so and so, but she didn't. So it was a mystery. And mysticism is that you not judging what is coming your way, but staying open in the sense that you don't know, nobody knows what she's here for. Like she could come with the news, she could be joy coming to dinner, she could literally be a lost friend, a lost relative, she could be anything. Now this mysticism is here for a very special purpose. Okay, this element of not knowing here is serving a very great purpose, which you will only come to know with time. And it is asking you, even in the stage of confusion, it is asking you to be open to mysticism, that universe has its way of delivering things or doing things which might not make sense to you at the moment, but rest assured that it's coming. Okay. And the back of the deck energy in this spread was soulmate, soulmate, and then beneath that is abundance. So this is this clarity, and you knowing, you being able to approach things in a different way, you knowing what your life purpose is, getting to know yourself better, and in turn developing a different perception towards others, is leading you to your partner. You probably will end up envisioning who you are meant to be with. Okay. And it's also going to lead you towards your, like, it is going to put you on your path to achieve abundance. Whatever abundance has been promised to you is coming, and this is the path that you are being put on by the universe. Okay. Now for tarot, the three cards that you got are seer of fossils, which is the raccoon card here, and then omen of death, which is the death card here. And it's like the omen of death is the death card in this spread, and it's called moth. And seeker of fossils is the llama card, and so you basically have the page of pentacles, death, and then knight of pentacles. Okay. I love this spread. Like I not this spread, sorry. I obviously love the spread in the sense that energy that it has. But what I was going to say is that I love this deck so much in terms of the reading, like how beautiful they are, and also the dynamic that it brings to the reading in terms of animals and animal spirit and that different dimension. And I'm also going to, like, the middle card, I'm going to read out from a book that I have of spirit animals in order to give you clarity about who you are going to become. And I'm going to take the middle card as that card, which will basically talk about who you are going to become. Now, in the page of pentacles, the seer of fossils, raccoon has this energy of, going through, like, being very curious about the grass field and what it could find in it, and then discovering this pentacle and wondering what it can do with it, and like inspecting it from different directions and understanding its various uses. So it's a very curious energy. So you are here, I think, going to find something which is going to be familiar, but you're going to look for innovative and new ways of handling it or doing something with it, so that you can create something which people have not, or it's unique, or people have not thought of. This idea that is coming to you, this inspiration that is coming to you, which has its rule, which is very mature, like it's very tangible, it's a physical, it has physical manifestation. It is a physical, it is not something which is only essentially going to be in your head, but people are going to see a physical manifestation of it. But first it is being born in your head, and what you are discovering, the possibility that is coming to you, is going to be the reason for your transformation, a huge transformation, where you will definitely start as somebody, like the thing that you're moving into, your purpose, finding your passion. You might not have any experience in that area, like you might not have any prior knowledge of doing anything in that area, but that is exactly what you are transforming into. You are from the page, you are going to transform into the knight, And before I talk about the knight, let's talk about the death card. So moth is basically, it symbolizes death in certain cultures, and in certain cultures moth is seen as the messenger of the spirit world. Whatever the situation is, moths are known to be that reminder of something coming to an end. And here with the skull being drawn on the moth, it forces you to face the reality of human life, that everything that is will one day come to an end and be transformed into something else. Okay, so moths obviously can only represent, like, it is not something that represents something very happy. It represents a moment of transformation. Or even if it is, even it symbolizes spirit communication, it symbolizes communication about a deep inner transformation. Okay, wait a second. So a lot of sound was coming from the background. I don't know if it still will, but I need to go through with the reading, so I'll just go ahead with it. If you can hear the sound in the background, I'm sorry. So here the moon symbolizes, although moth symbolizes inner visions, dreams, and it is seen as an omen. Okay, and it's not an omen where it's not an omen which is associated with joy. It is a omen which is associated with message from the spirit world, that has got to do with transformation, that has got to do with a moment which requires your attention, or something which would be associated with um, not joy, but yes, transformation. I don't mean to say anything negative, because you will only perceive things as negative and positive in your illusion. Things are only trying to serve their own purpose. There is nothing negative or positive. Okay, but grief and joy here, the transformation, like the transformation card falling here, the card of death falling here, and the moth navigating through the moonlight and guiding you towards that journey of transformation. Now I have to pause. Wait. Yeah. So also, yeah. I hope you don't mind the sound. So it's like moth foreshadowing death. You might feel inclined to read this card negatively, but there is no reason to do that. It is only showing the transformation of you letting go something and then emerging in this energy of joy. You might not perceive it, but in the sense that something goes to know, sorry, something goes to know, something needs to go, something needs to go for something else to come through. And the you are letting go of something, a situation that has come to an end, probably a person who's left your life, or literally the death of someone close to you. And now you're moving into processing that. You are processing that, understanding, honoring the emotions that you feel about the situation or the person, and now going into this phase of embracing joy once again, embracing life once again. That is the transformation that is happening in this life, and this is who you are becoming. You're becoming this person who knows how to honor her feelings or his feelings, and then move on to experiencing life once again. By grief has its own place, but it's not going to, like, you're not going to carry it on your shoulders anymore. You will understand how to honor it, and that will help you move towards joy. And from the seer of fossils, from discovering what you can do about a certain situation in your life, which, like the newfound curiosity that you have towards something, you will be able to ground it. Lama, they are known as this beings who are able to perceive the frequency, the higher level frequency, and their ears are considered to be antennas that can catch the frequency coming from the higher realms. And also their feet being grounded on the, like, on earth, they are able to ground it in a way where, being the knight of pentacles are slow, steady, but they move with prudence. But their vision for what they, the downloads that they're getting, and mysticism, and confusion, this section being followed, this entire spread is so synchronistic and so beautiful. So it falling here, it shows that the guidance that you are getting, the clarity that you are developing now, you will be able to, you are getting the capacity and you're really being able to ground it materially in a way which will give you slow but sure progress. It is slow because you are making sure that every stage of your life, like every, no, not life, sorry, every stage of the journey is grounded and strong, and the foundation is strong for whatever you are building, and it is being built with a very strong foundation. That's why it might look a little slow compared to the pace that you would consider to be swift, fast, and but it's strong. The foundation is strong, and that's what you are becoming, and that's what you will be seeing in your life, the big shift. The back of the deck energy for this was okay. So you have keeper of the sacred tradition, the Hierophant, and you also have the Earth Father, which is the Emperor. So Emperor and also the Hierophant you have. This is going to, the back of the deck energy being the Hierophant, whatever phase you're going through, you are going to become extremely knowledgeable about guiding someone through similar situation. You are going to become so well versed with the situation that you are in, and whatever you are going to work towards, you might be considered an authority in that field. Okay, might go on to become an authority. The Emperor and the Hierophant being together here. See, the Bull has this energy of, like, if it resists, if it is stubborn regarding what it knows, like if you choose to be stubborn regarding what has been the traditions, the what has already been, and what has already been established and practiced, and if you're stubborn about it, then you might, and not, not, you might end up not being able to perceive the wisdom in circumstances. But if you are able to honor traditions, honor collective wisdom that has been developed over the years, centuries, by our ancestors, and then use that wisdom to apply it to newer circumstances, you might be able to look at a circumstance very intelligently, in the sense that don't be stubborn about how people have been doing things. And I think this phase is also going to make you understand that you're supposed to be a different sort of leader, like different kind than what has existed. So don't be stubborn about how people have done it. Maybe your path will look a little different, maybe you will be asked to do things a little differently. uh, this is also Taurian energy, the Taurus energy. So you will be asked to do things differently, but this different thing, that the fact that you do it differently will make you more relevant to your times. And also whatever you're working on is going to be very innovative, where you just draw from what existed, just the right amount of teachings to bring into your work, so that you don't lose touch with the current population, or with the current generation. You have that, you bring in that element of innovation, your work has that element of innovation. At the same time, it is authoritative in the sense, in terms of how relevant it is, how practical it is. Okay, that is something that you are becoming. You're doing something with regards to your passion and what you want to do in life, which is going to be very wise, in the sense that something came through. Let me explain it to you. It is going to be something which people understand that you have derived information from big shots in your field, or inspiration from what existed in your field. But what you are saying now, or what you're adding to it in terms of your own work, is absolutely new, crucial, necessary, innovative, revolutionary for this field. Okay, and inner and outer, like your inner world will now reflect your outer reality, and that sync is happening beautifully. The chakra cards talked about the inner reality, and these cards are talking about the outer reality. I hope you like the reading. Okay, I need to read the moth card. Wait a sec. Yeah, so I wanted to read the moth card for you from a book that I have about spirit animals. It says that a letter, email, or package will be coming shortly, bringing important news. Trust your sense of smell and avoid anything that smells bad. Whatever has been hidden or veiled is about to be revealed. If you are single, focus your intention on attracting a romantic partner, and once you do, trust your senses as to whether or not this person is a good match. If you are in a romantic or intimate relationship, enhance the attraction by using essential oils or as aromatherapy rather than perfumes or colognes. I'm not sure if that message is guidance for everyone, but then there are a lot of you here. Since it's a collective reading, it might have resonance for someone. And if you like the reading, do give a thumbs up and subscribe to get more such readings. I hope to see you in another reading sometime soon. Group 1, take care. Group 2. So if you have chosen the Enlightened Leadership card, then welcome to your reading. So who you are becoming, Group 2. The card, as it talks about enlightened leadership, it also comes with a message of listen to your voice. Sorry, listen to the voice of the earth. Okay. Now let's talk about the card first. It has a sunflower, which is surrounded by the moon and earth at the opposite ends. You can think of the sunflower as symbolizing sun as well, because it is the sunflower and it has been described as the ring of fire. In between that is a belt of stars, and the moon has the symbol of two salmons in yin yang position, and here you have bees, and then radiations are vibrating from the earth, and the sunflower seems to be pointing, the middle one seems to be pointing towards a particular area, I think in the US. So you could have a link to someone who's residing in the US, or some form of association with the US, like either you might go to study there, work there, somebody who studies and works there, somebody who lives there could be of significance to you in your next phase. You might come across somebody from the US, be friends with them online. So it could be of significance to some people since it's a general reading. But this card basically talks about coming into the role of leadership and also listen to the voice of the earth. This leadership is not just any leadership. This is spiritual leadership. It talks it even the yin yang thing being here, it talks about you balancing yourself, the balancing the masculine and feminine energies within you, coming into your like full potential, highest power, and then being able to guide earth towards it, like towards a new phase, the new earth as they call it. You could be identifying as a twin flame. You could be on a spiritual mission, spiritual connection. You might have a spiritual connection with someone. You're definitely a spiritual person, which is why you're here. But through this card, what is being understood about who you are becoming is that you are becoming that person who's rising in their own power and becoming the version of themselves which can now be regarded as master. Okay, you're moving from a learner to a master, and you have a lot of cards to show that you are making incredible progress on your spiritual journey. There is, if you are a twin flame, then the balancing phase of yin yang has started already, and you probably will come into balance. You are emerging as a leader who is going to give earth what is needed. Okay, there is a difference between what you want and doing what is needed. So here you are realizing, you are being able to understand that what you want is to be able to, like, why you were born, if I ask you what you want, you would say that I want to fulfill my soul purpose, like the reason why I'm born. And now you're understanding that what you want is to live your soul purpose, which is to give the world, like give the planet what it needs. Okay, so they are aligned. That alignment, that you coming into alignment with the entire creation is happening, where you are one with the creator. So you realize that I am here to deliver the will of God. Okay, so I am a medium to here give the planet what it needs. Listen to the voice of the earth, listen to what earth needs. That is what you're realizing. You're going deep within to understand who you are, and you're discovering that who you are is what essentially the world needs, the planet needs, and what the planet needs is what you are, here to deliver. Not it's not like you are what, or like what the planet needs is what you are. You are definitely more than that. I mean, you are more than what the planet needs. You are what the universe needs, the creation needs, and every, you're needed in every realm and galaxy. Obviously you are a lot more than that, but you are understanding that your lifetime, essentially your birth here, has happened for you to be able to see. And also the frequency is rising, so for you to be able to deliver what earth needs. And so you could be one of them who's especially come here to raise the frequency of the planet. You could be an earth angel. You could be, you could identify with labels which are popular in the spiritual realm. And you understand that your journey is not a conventional journey of people who are living out a particular life on earth, and they grow up, they get a job, they get married, have kids, and then they die. No, your life is something more than that. And now let's move on to the cards. But before that, let's talk about the bees as well. You see, honeybees, they technically should not be able to fly. I mean, if people were just researching them on the basis of uh, the models, the biological models they come with, scientists would probably go on to say they should not be able to fly because their wings, the body weight is greater than what their wings can support. But they can very well fly, and not only fly but get a lot done. So it basically symbolizes the impossible, something that is considered impossible, they do it seamlessly, which you will be able to do, which you're becoming someone who would be able to do that, exactly that. Okay, and this being in the yin yang symbol could be of special significance to some of you. Okay, you coming together with a counterpart in order to execute, like you becoming who you are will eventually also bring you in union with a counterpart. Okay, now let's look at the chakra cards. So first card you got is Enlightenment. Here the story talks about a particular spiritual entity going to meet another spiritual being, and then on his way he gets stopped by a little guy, and then asked that if I am to reach enlightenment by discovering myself, like if it is essentially within my mind, if what will cause enlightenment is essentially within me, then how am I to face it? Like how am I to reach there? How will I get to that point? Like how will I get to enlightenment if it's essentially within my mind and within me that I have to discover enlightenment, that I have to reach enlightenment? How do I go there? And this being response by embracing and facing your fears. Okay, so you are realizing that the fears that you have, sometimes spiritual beings, as spiritual beings, earth angels, twin flames, you realize that some of the fears that you have are not really your own. You think of them as your own because that's what the design is like. I mean, you would definitely not be afraid of snakes and then say, oh, everyone is afraid of snakes. I have, like, it's not me, but everyone is afraid of snakes. So you would not, you would just say that I am afraid of snakes, right? You would not look at say a disease and be like, oh, everyone is afraid of that disease. You would be like, I am afraid of that disease. So you would associate yourself with that fear. But the thing is, often as spiritual beings, you feel as your own other people's fears and other people's insecurities and other people's conditioning. up until the point that you wake up and you realize that those feelings, those fears, and those conditioning, those thoughts are really not your own, but you mirroring the feelings and conditioning and thoughts and judgments of others. Because as empaths, these are like empathic beings, spiritual beings are empathic. They tend to take more than like take on not only the feelings of others but also thoughts of others. They take on a lot of collective conditioning as their own, because they are the only ones who can process it and release it and send it back to the source. What is not required, like what is done serving its purpose, they can say, like, send it back to its source. One thing is coming to my mind is that you have to suffer to realize how essential suffering is, and suffer till you realize that suffering is no longer essential. Okay, or why suffering is no longer essential. So in order for you to understand that what humanity does not need, you have to first feel it as your own. Only then you'll be able to experience it at depths before you can realize that it is no longer needed and then release it. Okay, so by embracing your fears, you will realize that those fears that you have, they come from, they are probably a representation of a conditioning. They represent a particular thought which may not be yours, or they come from a particular trauma that you experience, an incident which if you can go to, and which if you face, you will eventually be able to let it dissolve, let it, like, release it with forgiveness. Say for example, somebody said something to you, okay, and you don't remember that incident as being the very first incident when you first developed trauma towards that thing, like somebody calling you fat and you not being able to, or you not being beautiful and you not deserving of anybody's attention because you are fat. The first time that was said to you, you probably don't remember that incident as being the incident that gave you the trauma, but that incident will be somewhere stored in your mind. Okay, and every time anybody else calls you fat, it will act as validation, and validation will pile up, and until you are convinced that it is true. But you will be like, but I don't believe it. I don't think that anybody who is fat is not deserving of anybody's attention or is not beautiful. But why do I feel like why do I feel like I believe it, or why does it hurt me when I don't believe it? So you will then have to go back to that moment and forgive that person who said it, understand that they were acting out of conditioning, and realize that you had taken upon this belief by not being able to understand that you were essentially coming under, like, somebody was passing on their trauma to you, and you just accepted it as your own thought. So once you become aware of that, you become enlightened at that moment to understand how to treat this understanding of beauty, and release your perceptions of your limited perceptions of beauty. A lot happens, and enlightenment is definitely not that one moment, but realization of a lot of linked or chained realizations that basically help you shed the conditioning and take you closer to the truth. So the answer that was given to the boy is by embracing your fears. I just gave you one example, but this is something that you will probably now be able to do. Recovery. This card talks about, okay, enlightenment is the solar plexus chakra, which is associated with I do. So you will end up doing a lot of spiritual practices, practices that bring you closer to the truth. Okay, now recovery. Here this woman is in a room where she's surrounded by either her problems, her fears or insecurities. Okay, and they have surrounded her, and only through and she sees a door, a wooden door, and through the keyhole there is like a ray of light is pouring in, and she thinks of having the key to that door. And the moment she thinks of that, all her fears and insecurities take the shape of this key, which she puts through the door, and the door opens. And she is like, when she was putting the key into the keyhole, she was engulfed by her fear and insecurities. Like, for a moment she felt like everything she feared and everything she was insecure about came, and just in that moment she was like totally surrounded. It was like Eight of Swords moment, totally surrounded and stuck by it, like totally embraced by her fears and insecurities. But the fact that she could find strength in her to hold those fear and insecurities, and in that moment use those fear and insecurities to open the door, which is like to open her greater understanding, like use them to understand where it's coming from. The same as enlightenment, you see, where it's coming from, what the source of it is. The fact that she was able to put it into the keyhole and then turn it, the door open, and then she moved into light, where she would no longer be needing any keys. Yeah, so now you are moving into, or sorry, she's moving into this um, phase where she will no longer be needing keys because there are no locked doors there. Okay, so she's opening herself up to light, and light is all there is. So when you face your fear and insecurities of what is blocking you, and you go to the root and source of it, this is what you find. Like, they can no longer trap you. You will not no longer be trapped by your traumas. After you go to that first time, go to that place where you developed it the first time, and then release it. Forgive the people involved. Okay. Complacency here, sorry, complacency. How is it called? Complacency. I think it's complacency. Yeah, I call it complacency. So here, this woman, she wanted to move to Florida with her husband, or move to a certain place with her husband, but she didn't do that. And when she dies, her daughter discovers that her parents had enough money to move to Florida, which was this woman's dream, but never acted upon it. And now she does not, like, their daughter does not know what to do with her inheritance. And this card basically talks about acting on others' dreams. Sorry, not acting on others' dreams, acting on your dreams. Because if you don't do that, the unfulfillment will be yours, because you will never be satisfied with the unmet dreams of others. If you try to fulfill the unmet dreams of others, you will never be able to reach fulfillment for yourself. So you'll have to face your dreams, act upon your calling, your goals. Okay, what is unique to you. So don't be complacent. And then there's this quest talks about this woman thinking, essentially, she wanted to take a walk around a swamp, but then the swamp disappear, and the trail that she wanted to, well, the navy trail, I think, that she wanted to walk on disappears on her path. Like, not disappears, the swamp disappears, and then the trail appears, the navy trail appears on her own path. And this young guy tells this woman that the swamp that you were trying to take a walk around has disappeared. And she then and then on her way back home, she discovers that the trail that she was walking to, the path that she was willing to take, has appeared on her way to home, which basically talks about self-discovery. With quest, you might think that your fulfillment or your sense of adventure, something else outside of you, will, like, some other place will bring me happiness, some other place will bring me joy, some other place will bring that feeling of adventure. But what you are avoiding, or what you're not understanding, is that you are exactly where you're supposed to be. And that self-discovery, that whatever you need is in the moment now, not in a future place, but now. Okay, now is all you got. And even past and future is made of those little moments of nows. It's made of nows. Okay, now is all you have. And she's then forced to focus on her own journey, on her own path, on herself. And that quest she had was of self-discovery. That is beautifully under enlightenment. And then recovery is of, again, perception. She here, you can take all the central figures to be you. Okay, don't ignore your dream. Let your fear and insecurity, use them to understand, to let light in. Okay. And perception here, this woman goes to her untended garden and then discovers what a mess the garden is in, and she discovers the dying roots and stuff like that. And then somehow she comes across this emerald, which was shining, and this emerald speaks to her and tells her to open this wooden door, which she goes through and opens the door. And then she finds in the darkness, and she's then led to darkness. And then she somehow stumbles upon another door, and she opens that, and then she's introduced to a whole new garden, which is basically her garden, in a like in a form where it is green and overflowing with life and has butterflies and birds in it. It is the same garden but flourishing. Okay, so it was the change of perception that she needed, and to see her garden in a new light, where once she was seeing the garden as dying, she changed her perception and went through that dark room, which was the shift, in order to see the beauty in her garden. And then there was a transformation that happened. The dark room was the transformation, and butterflies also symbolize the transformation. So here, listening is, and birds for me is like spirit guide. So with her emerald, that moment where she used emerald is the stone for Mercury, and Mercury is intelligence. So she had the intelligence to use her, to shift her perception, look at it in a different way, and she was introduced to this garden which was flourishing and overflowing with life. What changed was not the garden but her perception. Okay, then you have the card Balance, which talks about this person being a small town theater actor who was extremely good for his place, or the place he was in, the small town. He was basically a big actor, big time actor. He was a small town actor with big time talent. That is what the card says. And so one agent once goes to their town, discovers his potential, and then signs it, like talks to him about a deal that they want to sign him up. And then he discovers that this is his big break which has come, and thinking that his life is now going to now going to change forever, he disconnects with all his friends and close ones and avoids them, thinking he's no longer going to need them. And then eventually, when he goes to town, or goes to, not town, goes to the place where the agency has called him for work, he discovers that they don't really have work lined up, and he needs to wait for his break. And he realizes that in his desire to chase this break, he has distanced himself from everyone he loved, and he's now lonely and alone, and he's not been able to strike balance between love and desire. Okay, he has basically avoided the people who was going to give him a loving life for a successful life. Okay, and it was not worth it. It was not worth avoiding love and warmth for feeling of success, fame, and he gets his lesson. So here, and then you also have Two of Pentacles reversed, I think. So basically we can understand that you are getting closer to enlightenment through self-discovery. You are going through recovery, where you might actually be able to overcome diseases that you might have had, or some of the things that were obstacles on your path, which were obstacles like literally somebody in your family not being well, you not having the means to access something, some healthcare or some opportunity for someone in your life, or you not being able to go for an opportunity because of a circumstance that you are in. Yeah, so you reaching enlightenment through self-discovery, and recovery is, oh, I said that right. Yeah, so I had to pause for a little while and I kind of lost track, I'm sorry. So recovery, you are realizing that whatever you are recovering from, something that you had faced in your life which made you incapable of moving towards your dreams, moving towards the path that is destined for you, or moving towards something that you knew that you were meant to go towards. That is clearing up. And how is it clearing up? Again, by you facing your fears. You you're facing yourself, realizing, understanding self-love, realizing that you have to face yourself, doing that, and then that leading to recovery. That leads to your change of perception, where you understand nothing has changed, nothing in the world has changed, you have changed, your perception has changed. Okay, the change that has happened is you're within you, the perception has changed. Complacency, you now realize that you have to face your dreams, and fulfilling others' dreams is not going to fulfill you. But while you do that, you cannot take others for granted. You cannot take the people in your life, close ones, for granted. You honor the people who have loved you, who have been with you as you move towards this phase where you're going to become a very different person. Probably you're, working towards enlightenment. You are becoming the person who also knows how to honor, how to balance, your life. And you are probably going to need to balance, because as you like ascend and as you progress on your spiritual path, you're going to lose the ability to be able to relate to a lot of other people. But with balance, you're going to realize that there's a way to say goodbye to them, or if you're not being able to resonate with them, even moving away from them, there's no reason to hurt them. You might become a very different person, but not having, not thinking that you're better than them in some way because of who you are becoming, or because of, not having an ego about not having an ego, not having an ego about having an ego death. I hope you don't do that, you're thinking that, okay, so I don't have a very strong ego, and the people who do, now I'll go and look down upon them, or I have ascended on my journey, and now that I have, and I have discovered a new perspective, I'm going to judge all the people who do not have that perspective. No, you're developing compassion for them. And back of the deck energy is joy followed by miracles, so you are going to find a lot of joy in the process, and it's going to feel like a miracle has happened in your life. Okay, so this is who you are becoming. Now let's look at your tarot cards. You have Six of Shells, Five of Fossils, and the Trickster, which are Six of Cups, Manatee, whatever it's called. And then you have Five of Pentacles with the Donkey, and then you have the Trickster, which is the Fool, with the Coyote spirit. Okay, Coyote has like this beautiful eyes. See, I think this is, yeah, see, look at the eyes. That's the eye that they have in the cover as well, on the cover as well. So you're gonna have that look on your face, like, I know where I'm going. Like, people don't understand where I'm headed, but I know exactly. Your path has already become clear to you, and I think you've ascended on your journey quite a bit now to be experiencing this. So with the Six of Cups and with the Manatee, which basically is a very fun sort of water animals, and they also float, like come to the surface to get the light, and then also go to the depths of ocean, and then swim with creatures from other creatures with the enthusiasm with which they come to, like, they are basically very happy creatures. I mean, they float, they swim with other creatures as well, and then they independently also, they are very happy beings. So Six of Cups, which essentially has the energy of soulmates or childhood friends who are obviously very strong soulmates. I mean, we don't go on to form as strong a bond with anyone else as we do with our childhood friends. So I think this has an energy of you realizing, and this falling in that this enlightenment and quest series. It's like you realizing how you are one with the creation, you coming in contact with either, and this has a yin yang. I already talked about the yin yang symbolism in your group. So you coming in contact with your counterpart, or coming in closer contact with your counterpart, or waking up to the understanding that you being so close or one with your counterpart gives you this understanding that you are actually one with the entire creation. Like, it's first you see your counterpart, and then you realize how you share something more than something more than, like, you've more in common. Like, I can tell you, like, it's like, obviously with counterparts you share the same consciousness, but it how you perceive this will depend on whether or not you are on a twin flame journey, or you know about counterparts, or you are at that phase or at that stage where you have understood that you really do share the same consciousness with the other person, which has also been considered to be sharing the same soul. So whether or not you have woken up to that realization, I don't know. So you, depending on which stage of awakening you are, or which stage of understanding spiritual secrets you are, you might perceive this differently. But that's what you first see your counterpart, and then you see a soulmate, and you realize, or you see someone who's very close to, very closely associated with you in terms of soul connection, and you understand that you have a relationship with them which goes beyond what you shared in terms of earthly connection. I mean, you might call them a friend, but you're more than friend, or you might call them a family member, but you're more than that. And then you're going to realize this about everyone. Like, you not only share a strong bond with these soulmates or this counterpart of yours, but you actually are one with the entire creation, like the source, the big bang. When that happened, we were all one, and then it, we got separated to the point now Pluto is Pluto, Earth is Earth, and then Jupiter is Jupiter, Saturn is Saturn, but then at one point we were all one, right? So in our illusion, we think these to be separate now, given they look separate, and distance, time and places and everything, and what our experiences make us look absolutely separate from each other, where the manatee would never believe that it's same as the donkey, and the donkey would never believe that it's same as the coyote. They would think of themselves as totally different from each other. But then you will realize now that we are all coming from the same thing, like we're pretty much one with the creation. So that is one understanding you're going to develop after you come in contact with you have a very soulful contact with somebody. Like a soul connection is going to come into your life, and you are becoming somebody who's honoring this connection, who's understanding deeply what this connection is, and understanding it at a deep emotional and spiritual level. Then recovery and perception, five of fossils. It's like, again, fear and insecurities. You are recovering from something which was keeping you in the five of pentacles, in the lack, scarcity situation. And donkey here, it's like with perseverance, and look at the eyes of the donkey. It's like it's going through something very difficult, but by remaining grounded and taking it slow and exercising the prudence and whatever it understands of the situation, in the little bit, ways that that the donkey does understand, it is trying to exercise its judgment to stay grounded and lead you out of that situation. Okay, so five of pentacles, yeah, so five of pentacles is going to act that way, where you are experiencing a difficult situation, but you are now understanding, developing the understanding, the perception, where you're trying to understand, why am I going through this situation, what is the source of this, what has it come to teach me, and then use that situation to master, like use that understanding, use whatever you're facing, your difficulties, use that to master the situation. When you master the situation, light enters, and the perception shifts, and you get a completely different view of the situation, and the situation then transforms itself. And then you look at the five of pentacles with respect, and as a lesson which was really necessary in your journey. Okay, then complacency and balance. Understanding that your dream is your own dream, and you have to act upon your own dream. Nobody else is going to do that for you. Coyote is this fun spirited, animal which does not really care so much about the rules, and zero being a very strange number, where it is nothing and symbolizes this full circle of being whole and complete in itself at the same time. So it is a very strange energy, where it realizes that striking balance between you honoring what you know, and at the same time giving wings to that curiosity in you to go follow something which is your heart's desire, that you may not know a lot about, or might not know for sure what it's going to lead to. Like, you don't have the entire journey figured out, but you're going to take that step anyway, and you're going to act in that, in that soul, like what your soul desires. Like, you're not going to look at what has been done, or not going to look at conventions. You're just going to stand at the edge and take that leap. follow that thing which probably has no precedent. Precedent. I just mean precedent. Sometimes I just don't know how to say the words. Yeah, which has no precedent. Yeah. Wait a second. I want to know the right way to say this. Yes, so you say it like the precedent is only, okay? So it's that it has no precedent, and you're doing it like you're taking the first step towards it, not knowing how people did it before, like not caring how people did it before you, but you're gonna take the step. Like with the yin yang energy, you have come to do a lot of things which are unconventional, which is not how you're gonna do things, not the way people have been doing it on earth, okay? Your energy is going to be totally different. You're going to show unconventional and new ways to the world. You're here to do that. So it's not a mystery that you have this Fool card. Oh, you have 3 of shells as well. The otter, it's a very happy card. And then you have 10 of fossils, which is like 3 of cups, 10 of pentacles beneath that. Then you have joy there. So yeah, beautiful, beautiful. You, as the back of the deck energy, you have 2 of fossils, which is the 2 of pentacles that came in reverse, and see the yin yang symbol is here as well. So very strong counterpart energy in this reading, okay, in this deck. And 2 of pentacles coming reversed, it's like you, and the balance card was also here. So you're gonna try to come into balance. Like you're now gonna understand that yes, 100% that balancing the feminine and masculine within you, yin yang within you, that is going to happen. But also understanding very, very clearly what your like role in this world is. And monkeys, you see, they are very close to human beings in their ways and in their sensitivities. And if you see a monkey mother, like a monkey mother with monkey children, you will understand like how similar they are to humans and how similar their feelings and sensitivities are to humans. And at that moment you realize that what separates us from them is us being disciplined and trained to act in a certain way, whereas their emotions are very raw, very wild, and very honest and close to nature as well. We are the ones who've been trained, and if Foucault was to say that we've been trained to be good, what is he called? What bodies? Disciplined bodies. What does he call? 1 second. Yeah, so Foucault's concept of, Michel Foucault was a political thinker, his concept of docile bodies. So he would say that how we've been trained to become docile and, act in sync and act in a particular way. That training we've received, and we are now basically good slaves of the society. But monkeys don't have that. They can be raw, honest, true. They can channel the natural emotions, natural wisdom, okay? They can be authentic, more authentic than us. And I think that's what you are connected, like you are coming closer to your authentic self. You're channeling your authentic self, and the balance, this being reversed, is like something that is being out of balance is coming to your notice now, coming into focus, and that balancing is happening. And this story is very relevant for you, that as you ascend, as you become someone you're meant to become, and you might find it difficult to relate to some of the people in your life, which happens when you progress spiritually. You become such a different person that it becomes very difficult to relate to the people in your life. But don't treat them well, understand, treat them, honor them, honor their presence in your life, honor their contribution in your life, okay? So that was your reading. And yeah, I need to read the donkey card for you from a book I have it. So whichever card is falling in the middle, I am reading messages from a book I have of Spirit Animals book, which may be relevant for some of you. Okay, so the card that you received is donkey, and based on that, the message is volunteer and give your time and physical energy to a service organization that is compatible with your philosophy and beliefs. Listen to and respect your intuition, particularly when it comes to doing something that has potential risks. Take your time and proceed cautiously and slowly, but keep on moving ahead, pausing only to determine the best direction to go forward, to go toward your destination. The more you express and honor your inner truth, the more recognition and acknowledgement you will receive. So that was the reading for you, group 2. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope the messages resonated with you. If it did and you liked the reading, do give a thumbs up. Otherwise, yeah, also subscribe to my channel to get more such readings. Otherwise, I will see you in another reading sometime very, very soon. Take care. Group 3. So if you have chosen the mindfulness card, then welcome to your reading. This card, let's talk about this card first, okay? The card has the message stairway to personal power. And this card has this visual of a lady who is wearing a hijab pointing towards a certain direction. Her legs have taken the shape of nerve-like roots that seems like it looks like an eyeball. I think the downside of the eyeball, the lower side of the eyeball, and she's pointing towards a certain direction, and you have a moose and you have prairie dogs, and you have a moose and prairie dog on the either side, but you also have a few prairie dogs looking at the direction that she is pointing towards. And there are rays coming out of her third eye, which is connected to the third eye of the moose, third eye of the prairie dogs, and another third eye goes towards something which we are not able to see. So a lot of these these images are supposed to be made sense of on the basis of your own understanding. Okay, you're supposed to interpret them on your own. But here the moose talks about a particular achievement that you have already, you already have made that achievement. It may be something small, something not worth noticing in the terms of, say, social standards or by convention, like something probably you struggled with, a habit or a perception that you have developed which gives you a new insight and a new way of looking at something. So something you take very lightly now, because in the larger scheme of things it is something that can be taken lightly. It is not something that people generally celebrate, but you know that it is a milestone for you, it is an achievement for you. Stepping out a little bit, stepping out of conventions a little bit, you know that it is something that leads you to an understanding that has that is worthy of celebration, because that has changed the way you look at life, that has brought in a big change for you. So it is asking you to celebrate that achievement. Even if no one does for you, you cheer for yourself. And in terms of prairie dogs, they represent that you are not only connected to beings of this realm, but beings of other realm as well. People on the other side, like beings on the other side of the veil. And they represent your connection, they represent your connection to other beings who are not not only beings of this earth, but beings of other world as well. And they are here to remind you of that connection that you have with the creation, which goes beyond this planet. And this lady taking the form of, it basically symbolizing the structure of eye, and then the steps leading towards this flower, which has, I think, yellow, then pink, and then red. Sorry, yellow, orange, red, and pink petals. It basically, and the rays coming out of different, the rays connected to the third eye of other animals. It basically shows about you standing in your own power by knowing your own truth. You understanding that your life and your goals will look different, because you are a different, you are, even like you are a different entity even in your connection to the entire creation. Like it is unique for each one of us. Each one of us have been assigned a particular puzzle piece to manage, and your puzzle piece being unique and different from others, although rooted in the entire creation, entails that you take cognizance of the uniqueness that you have, and it's going to look different for you. So you coming into your personal power, stepping into your personal power, this is literally the stairway to your personal power, and this is what the lady symbolizes. And it could be your, developing the perception of it. You also have the perception card here. So you basically realizing what your personal strengths are in order to realize what your personal power is, in doing what, and what makes you powerful in this creation. What is your uniqueness? That is what you realize. And when you realize that, you are able to celebrate things which others might overlook as something very insignificant, but you know that they are very significant to you because they're significant in your journey. So you're exercising that mindfulness about your own journey, about your own path, your own vision, okay, by developing the perception, by developing the understanding of it. Okay, now going into your chakra wisdom oracle cards. First card you have is of expansion. Then you have gossip, perception, rejection, despondence, and victim. The card expansion comes with the message that, first of all, this card has this story where the sky god was looking for the color of the sky, whenever, like, looking for the color to paint the sky, where anyone who would look at the sky would feel calm and soothed and relaxed. So he had basically these ideas in mind, and he wanted to select a color for the sky, where he was seeking counsel of, like, very wise spirit guides. And one of the spirit guides told him to focus on his intuition, and another spirit guide told him that you need to um believe that you will see it, or once no, it says that you will know the color when you see it. That's what the spirit guide said. And so it asked the sky god to, like, close eye, like, basically to go within and believe that he will see the color, and then he will see it. It's raining profusely outside. So, and I'm feeling like seeing the color of the sky right now. So basically he asked the spirit guide to go within and believe that he will see the color. And when he went within it, or when he meditated, or when he closed his eye, he basically realized that the color of the sky, he wants it to be blue, and blue it was. Okay, this is the throat chakra card. Okay, and it is asking, the card comes with a message that when you believe, you will see it. So basically, for you to see something, you need to believe in the fact that it exists. Okay, and then intend to see it. And if you act with this intention that I don't know, I have no clue, that is what you are going to get. You are going to get a blank picture. But when you believe that yes, you will see it, like anything with, if I ask you to go within to get an answer to your question, first you have to develop the question in your mind. First you have to believe that the answer, first you have to be clear about the question and believe that the answer to the question exists. If you go on telling me no, there is no answer to it, it is a dilemma, you will probably go within and find a blank, like a blank state, or you will basically feel blank when you go with it, because it is what you believe that is being mirrored to you. But if you go with the belief that I will find an answer and give me the answer, you will see it. And that is how your vision is expanded. But this card being the third card, I think, the blue card, which is the throat chakra card. I mean, in the book, it is called the fifth chakra card, because it is they start counting from the red chakra. But since I do it personally, I do it from the first chakra, like the crown chakra. I called the crown chakra the first chakra. For me, it's the third chakra card. So um, it's the and yeah, it's the throat chakra card, and it talks about friend circle as well, and seeking wise counsel for your path or for your questions. So be very mindful about who you go to regarding these queries that you might have if you're going moving on to the next part, moving on to the next chapter or a new chapter. Um and it is asking you to be very selective about your friends group, where if people are criticizing you, if people are criticizing your dreams or something that you want to do, or they tell you that they see no meaning in what you're doing, or absolutely nothing, no purpose, or basically no value in what you're doing, I think it is time that you change your friends group. Like if they are not, be very mindful about who you are seeking wisdom from, and see, this sky god has the owl sitting above his head, so all he had to do is go within. So if you are seeking counsel, and the spirit guide is the one who told him that, believe it and you will see it, and go within, and he did, and he saw it. So basically be very very careful about who you are seeking guidance from in terms of your your queries, because it might expand your vision or contract it. Okay, then the gossip card, it is the heart chakra card, which is inspiring you to have exercise more love and understanding towards other people. The story of the card goes that this lady was the gossip of the town. The town basically never got to know her, the real her. They used to call her, think of her as weird, and somebody who used to stand out from others and had weird dressing sense and scarves and everything. And even her, like, they used to look at everything that she was associated with, whether her dressing sense or her house, and gossip about it without really knowing anything about it. And when she dies, they find out that this lady was a painter, and she painted different paintings of the town, where she had a very loving view of the people in the town, and people, their lives and the town in general. And they regret never knowing this lady in the first place, and gossiping about her, but never really getting to know the truth. So the distance between two people is that of understanding. If somebody is gossiping about you, what they are essentially trying to communicate is that they have no understanding of you. So don't take it personally. Or when you do gossip about somebody, when you feel inspired to gossip about someone, just be like, oh, look at her, she's weird, she's this, she's that. Just know that it is founded upon misunderstanding, which is essentially you not being able to understand that person, because if we did, we would not be gossiping about them. There is another card which is not here, but it has the message of, like, the card is forgiveness, and it has this message that when we judge others, it is not them that we need to forgive, but ourselves for judging others. Okay, or when we, yeah, but like, forgiveness is basically forgiving ourselves for judging others. So something like that. So here, try to exercise that forgiveness. And if you felt drawn to pile one, I think this had that card and the message, and somehow I said this message in this group as well, so you might want to listen to that. And here you see these people, they are looking at this woman in a very judgmental way, but see how happy this woman is. So and this card comes with a message that I've never met a person that I did not like in my life. So every person has a unique story and brings in a unique vibration to your life. It's just, you need to take cognizance of that, develop an understanding about that, and then you'll have no reason to gossip. So if somebody is gossiping about you, who you are becoming is, you are realizing this. And if somebody is gossiping about you, then you are realizing this about them as well, that they're just simply not able to understand you. And then you have another heart chakra card. You have three heart chakra card actually. which means that in this, like, who you are becoming is somebody who is operating from the heart. Your ability to love will expand, and you will take a very different loving view of the world, which will also change your outer reality, because your inner reality will shift, which will be mirrored by your outer reality. That is the card, that is pretty much the card that perception talks about. Here, this woman visits her garden, which is untended, and it has dying plants and dying roots, and it is in a very bad condition, and she goes into her garden not feeling very great about it, and she discovers this emerald. Now this emerald was shining and speaks to her and tells her to open this wooden door. And as she does that, as she opens the wooden door, she's led into darkness, and somehow she stumbles upon this other door, which again she opens, and she is led to a completely different garden, like, which is basically her same garden, but now it has life overflowing, with flourishing plants, flourishing flowers, full of birds and butterflies. And what basically happened is that she is in the same garden, but her perception of it has shifted, which is why it appears to be new. And it also has butterflies in it, which symbolizes transformation. So it's basically transformation of perception. You're gonna realize, you're gonna have a different way of looking at something, which is why these two cards being side by side makes complete sense. Okay, you're gonna look at something differently, discover a new way of looking at something, which is gonna in turn make the thing appear completely new to you. You'd be like, is it even the same thing that I'm looking at? And this perception thing is coming into, like, you will discover yourself, as you will discover your own personal power, and you will discover yourself in new light, which will basically be the stairway to your personal power. Self-discovery will be, opening up your heart chakra, will be opening up, discovering how you are connected to the entire universe, and finding within yourself the love, the unconditional love with which to treat the world. Your world will change eventually in response to the change within you. Then expansion card is followed by, like, just beneath that is rejection. I did not really take them as a clarifier, but you can just think of it like that. The expansion card is clarified by rejection, where it talks about a very strange kind of painter. Like, he's not strange, he's unique, but people think of him as strange, and he was invited as the jury to exhibition or something, where people love his art. People invited him because he is very unique in his approach to art, but they did not allow him to be the jury, because one of the qualities of the jury was to put himself in other people's shoes and then understand their art. But they thought that he was not going to be able to do it, because he is so different from others that he's not going to be able to put himself in other shoes, and he also does not communicate with anyone, and he lives an isolated life. Then how is he going to be able to do it? So they respect and honor his uniqueness by inviting him as the jury, but they also isolate and not include him. They exclude him by not letting him be the jury. So they also fail to take cognizance of his uniqueness by not including him, okay, as a jury member. So the card rejection talks about divine protection again. Like, this is the story, but the rejection here is again divine protection. If you are being protected, like if you are being rejected from something, know that spirit has, like, the people are not able to understand your uniqueness, but that is their own problem, that is not your problem. And spirit definitely has something in it, like something in going on behind the scenes, and something in his mind. But I did not want to assign a gender to spirit, but something on its mind. Spirit has something on its mind, because of which you are being rejected in whatever pursuit you are applying and hoping for an expansion, and hoping for wise counsel. You are getting disappointed here, because there is something that you need to, something that you will wake up to, probably somebody's advice that you will take, and you will realize that this is not the kind of advice you need, or you will develop a better understanding of what you are looking for, and after taking a bad advice you will realize that you never needed advice in the first place. You only had to follow your heart, or it was unnecessary for you to ask around. You just had to be yourself. I mean, against all odds, you simply have to be yourself. Be yourself and then forget. Leave the rest to spirit, okay? Then gossip being followed by despondence. So this card, wait a second. I don't know if you can hear the thunder lightning, but it's pretty loud at this point. So here, this girl was extremely depressed, and she did not know what to do about it. And the card here talks about her coming into action regarding her situation, and that helps her come out of this state where she felt absolutely stuck. And the stuck feeling that she had, it was because she was stuck in her head. I had to move the table a little. So uh, this this card talks about the story where this woman was depressed, and this woman was depressed, and she asks spirit for help and to get out of that situation. And spirit asks her to clean her house and eat a good meal, and she does, but she still feels depressed, and again calls upon spirit to, you know, for help. And spirit then, you know, then asks her, obviously the help is to get moving. I mean, do something, act to come out of that energy that she is in, but she fails to do that. So what happens next is, there is a natural calamity in her town, and hurricane, I think. And then she gets to action by helping other people in the town to manage that situation, and she also comes out of that state of depression. So also, although this is the card about, like, this is the story in the this is the story behind this card, I will tell you something. If you're depressed, somehow getting into action is will be acting in, like, acting to avoid the emotion that you are in, or avoiding the source of your emotion. So it will be like escaping. It is basically escapism. If you try to ignore the thoughts in your head to, you know, basically, and concentrate on something else, you are basically being like, you're basically ignoring the thoughts in your head. So that is my opinion. But this card coming up with the story might indicate the fact that you are thinking way too much about a situation, which will not get resolved with thoughts. It will get resolved with action. So you surrender it to spirit, because spirit really has your back. And if spirit is telling you, like, you go into action, like, you take some action, go do some things, like clean your house, eat healthy meals, basically take control of your own life. It's not, spirit is not asking you to move mountains, but just be in charge of your own life. And if you are able to do that, you will slowly see the energy shift. The feeling of being stuck is in your head. Okay, this is also the third eye card, which is the second chakra. So you base not being able to just follow your guidance, like follow the guidance, which is basically to move and do the basics in your life. Rest will be taken care of. So with the gossip, you don't pay attention to it, because if people are gossiping, understand that they are doing it because they don't have the capacity to understand you, which really isn't about you. It is about their own conditioning. So don't make it personally about you, and just get moving with your life. And the people doing that to you will eventually get the lessons in life where they understand what they did to you. Like the people of the town understood what they did to this lady. You don't have to be depressed about it. You just take the basic, like, you concentrate on the basic things in your life. That's what, now it's making sense. It's like, you take charge of the basic things in your life. You take charge of your own life. Don't be depressed about this. Spirit has got your back. If you don't do that, something is going to happen to you. Because I remember once, and I completely understand this, that when I was depressed at one point in my life, I was so stuck in that energy. I could not get out of my head, but there was nothing really I could do about that situation. I really had to get moving with my life, but I was not being able to do it. And at that time, what happened is my mother fell sick and she was hospitalized. And when that happened, my entire focus shifted on my mother. And suddenly, I was not in that energy in my head anymore, because I could no longer think and get a solution out of my head. Like, my thoughts would not have led to any solution. Only thing I could do at that moment is to get out of my head and start living my life. So that is the thing that will happen to you if you can't ignore it. If you can't take control of your life, spirit will do something which will require you to act upon a situation in an emergency, and that will be necessary. You will understand that will be necessary. Who you are becoming is that you're seeing, understanding that some of the things the spirit is doing, whether it's rejection or whether it's something something like a natural disaster or something which requires your attention in an emergency like on an emergency basis, it is doing you to get you out of that stuck energy, okay, to make you realize that the perception that you are not understanding your own personal power or what you are meant to do. You're not understanding the bigger picture. To take you, like it being the lower part of the eye, it's like to make you understand the reality beyond what is seen by the eye, the actual truth. It's like going within, okay. And then the next card is perception. I told you it is followed by victim. Here the acorn was asked by, I think, the dragon to feature in some movie or something like that, but the best of the acorn's scenes are cut out, and eventually the acorn thinks that it was taken advantage of by the dragon because his best scenes were not even included. The acorn realizes that the break that the dragon gave the acorn the opportunity to be featured in museums and stuff like that because of the role the dragon offered, but eventually he harbors this resentment towards this dragon for not involving him in the movie the way he was promised to, or the way he thought he would be included. So he's still in the victim mentality, okay, where he's not facing it, but he is seeing himself as the victim. Here spirit is asking you to develop the perception of, again, of seeing things differently and understanding why something that happens. You might not understand this right away, but eventually with time you will understand that what was the meaning of it. And if you like, heart chakra is about I love, okay. So if you open your heart to love and compassion and understanding the world in a different light and understanding everyone's situation for which this painter was rejected, that they would not be able to put them like himself in other people's shoes. But if you're able to do that, you would be able to shift your perception, which is all that is being asked of by you. That is the sound of the bell of puja being done. I don't know if I should pause, but yeah, that's a beautiful sound, so why should I pause anyway? Now let's look at your tarot. I wanted to pause, but I didn't. Did I pause? Oh no, I didn't. Yeah. Whew. Now a conch shell might be blown, and then I would not pause again. I hope you enjoy the sound. So the first tarot card that you've got is Horse, Spirit of Freedom, which is the Chariot card in this deck. Then Gorilla, which is Six of Fossils or Six of Pentacles, and then Honeybee, which is Heart Awakener or the Lovers. Okay. And the back of the deck, you got Five of Swords. Okay, with the Blue Jay. Also, you got the Guilt card at the back of the Chakra Wisdom card. So it may be so that you are feeling guilty about something that has happened, but just know that the situation happened for a reason. Perception is the focus of your reading. Who are you becoming? You're becoming somebody who has a very clear perception of what things should be. Okay, the big shift is this. So the horse, which is basically the chariot. The horse has been regarded as the um animal used by the gods to travel. So it is not only this realm that you can travel with the horse, but also the other realms. So it is your it's the animal of choice for you. It's your like the vehicle of choice for different realms. So it helps you move through different realms. Okay, the spirit of freedom. You move through not only earth but different realms. Horse again is a very swift, very intelligent. Should I pause? No, I think this is just the bell of Hindu puja being done at home. Okay, so what was I saying? Yeah, the horse. So it is a very intelligent animal which exercises prudence with, and like with speed, to get you to where you want to go. But this being the chariot, and chariot symbolizing the like essentially chariot comes with like a black horse and a white horse. It basically talks about you aligning your strengths and weaknesses, or aligning different like negatives and positives and all the resources available to you, so that you can move forward. Okay, the you analyzing, assessing your pros and cons in order to move forward. A movement will only come when you have resolved, when you've been able to figure out how you are going to handle the positive and negative that will come with the situation. Positive and negative, again, I'm using in a very shallow way, because in honestly, what is positive and negative in this world? Everything has a purpose, and you differentiating something as positive and negative, like differentiating positive and negative, is basically out of illusion. So but things that are beneficial, things are not beneficial, pros and cons attached to you like approaching something. When you have made an assessment towards it, only then are you able to move forward. You are somebody who is making that assessment and charging ahead. You're being able to make, you're being able to move forward now. That energy of being stuck is going away, and you are being able to move forward now, because pretty much you have been able to understand that you whose advice you should listen to and whose advice you should not listen to. The fact that you knew it all along, the fact that if you've been rejected, it is divine protection. And if you have been rejected in a certain situation, it only means that that wasn't meant for you. It doesn't mean that you are a failure. That is what you're waking up to. Then with gossip and despondence, depression, you're getting like Six of Forces, which is the Six of Pentacles, and the gorilla. Now the gorillas are very sensitive, strong animals. Like here, how strength is exercised with sensitivity and like with kindness and compassion. They are a big example of that, gorillas. Okay, and I also said this about monkeys in another video, and I'll also say this about gorilla, that their attitudes and some of the things they do are very close to humans. The only thing that has happened with humans is because also our brains are like quite developed in comparison to these animals. But what has happened is, if you go through the philosophy of Michel Foucault, where he talks about docile bodies and how we have been trained to um, become essentially good slaves to the society, which serves its own purpose. Obviously, it is responsible for a lot of positive shifts as well, a lot of beneficial things that has happened in society. Yeah, so it is responsible for a lot of positive shifts as well. Um, but it is like whatever makes us humans conditioned to behave in a certain way are the things that is missing in these wild animals, and that is why they are more authentic in their emotions expressions, more wild. And that conditioning them being free from conditioning also makes them more honest, more true to nature, to their nature. And they have this thing within themselves, within the community, where they share their abundance and take only as much as is needed, because like humans, they don't think about, let's say, for the day when we might face some crisis or something where we might not have enough. They don't think that like that, so they share what they have within the community, taking from nature only what is needed and not in excess. So the Six of Pentacles coming with this energy of like was sharing, and Six of Pentacles essentially also brings in this element of bringing yourself into balance, of you being rewarded, or whatever you want being given to you by the nature, or sorry, by the universe. Okay, because and you also getting the abundance, or getting whatever you need from the universe in order to like bring yourself into a balanced situation, because six represents that balance. Okay, and it is a situation where you are not only able to experience abundance that you have won for yourself, not only you get to experience it, but you're also able to, you come into a position where you're able to share that abundance with others. So that falling in gossip and depression, like despondence, it is basically asking you to take your like coming into that understanding that what you share with the community, and how what you share with people, and if you take cognizance of the fact that somebody is screaming. Yeah, so you coming into that understanding that with the help of community, you will be able to come out of the situation, and you're also understanding the abundance that you have, or sharing moments with your friends and family where you are able to share not only your sorrows, yes, now probably your sorrows, and also the things that trouble you, and your abundance with others, maybe going out with them and sharing things with people more, coming into balance in terms of understanding what you have which you are not taking cognizance of, or why people are gossiping about you, understanding that you might have a situation in your life where you are not happy, but it is only happening because you're being stuck in your head and not moving and not recognizing the things that you already have. You will be able to, you're coming into a position where you are taking cognizance of your own abundance, about who you are, stay with your personal power. You're realizing your personal power, and how it strengthens the community, how you are important for the community, how you bring something essential for the community. Okay, then you have Honeybee Heart Awakener, which is the Lover's card. Okay, the thing about honeybees is that you having the Lover's card here, first of all, perception and victim, it, because the Lover's card also symbolizes a choice that you have to go on living your life the old way you used to, or you know go on to live your life with an understanding of love. Okay, waking up to love. So this also talks about perceptions, shifting your perception. You have a choice to live or progress with love. So getting the Lover's card here is basically asking you to exercise that choice of whether you want to continue your life, because there are ways in which you are being a victim. There are ways in which you were being a victim, and now you're becoming someone who's very, very aware of that. You're very, very aware of that, where you are no longer willing to be the victim in your own narrative, and you're shifting your perception to exercise that choice and awaken within you the power of love. Lover's card is a very soulmate twin flame sort of card. Okay, and you are asking, you're coming into your personal power, and also making it clear to the universe that you want to rise in love. You want to meet your counterpart and make yourself available, make yourself that person who is worthy of divine love. okay, who's not ready for divine love. You're always worthy. We are all worthy of divine love, but make yourself ready for divine love, for that counterpart. Honeybees, you see, they there's a very interesting thing that if you take note of their their biology and how they're built, their bodies are heavier that compared to their wings, and their wings should technically not be able to carry them. They should technically not be able to fly, but they not only fly, they get a lot done. Okay. And these honeybees, they have a very give and take sort of a balanced relationship with nature, in terms of they take nectar from the flowers, and also they pollinate the flowers, okay, in turn. So here a balance is maintained in the universe, or sorry, not in the universe, in the nature. And here you are also, like, this card talks about balance, this card talks about balance. This is literally the yin yang card, which a chariot has two horses, one is black, another is white. So literally you have a lot of cards talking about balance, okay. So this is the sixth card. This is six of fossils. So talks about balance. And you are literally becoming this person who is extremely balanced, who's coming, probably balancing their inner masculine and feminine, and realizing that who they are meant to be, in terms of you're realizing your role in this world. The choice that you have is to either live your life, choose that path of love and live your life in terms of the new realization that you have had, or with the new realization that you have had, or the old way of being. And you're choosing the new way of being. You're becoming very, very conscious of what you're moving into, and leaving behind who you used to be. The choice is very clear to you, but there's not much sadness associated with it. The only sadness is people who you thought were your friends, but somehow they are not. The people that you've loved, but you have only been hurt by them, okay, and you don't know what to do, and you're asking spirit for guidance, and spirit is literally telling you, just understand who you are. Call in your soul family, call in the support of your soul family, and even the community that you have. You are probably needed, and you're probably respected in that community, and they're asking that they need you. The spirit is saying, fossils is very, like, fossils has pentacles, like it is pentacles, so fossils has that earthly, tangible, materialistic energy. So you literally have people in your life, or have people who know that you are a big deal, who recognize your why you are important. And it's not like, if they did not realize why you are important, you would not be important. It's not like your validation has to come from like others, but there are people who are aware of this. And you can think of how much you are needed. You can just have to develop this understanding, and you also developing this understanding how much you're needed for this world. And that is making you come out of this energy of depression. And that is what you're realizing. That is the big shift. The big shift is happening at the level of perception in your life. You are waking up, like heart awakener. Oh my god, just see, I spoke about the heart chakra opening up for you, and you literally have the heart awakener. You're waking up to your to unconditional love. And that's why you're realizing your own worth and necessity, importance in the creation, because you're realizing it for the entire universe. You're realizing everyone's importance in the creation. And the back of the deck energy is five of feathers. So you are battling a lot of mental conflict too. Five of feathers is the five of swords, which you're battling a lot of mental conflict in order to understand. Like you're going through mental, like you're solving this puzzle mentally. Mentally, you would be thinking about these things a lot. So whatever I said would become your mental dialogue. Like these are the things that you would be mentally thinking about. You would be solving a lot of things. You'd be living in your mental body more than your emotional body. You would be living more in your mental body, and understanding and realizing that you have to shift from your mental body to your emotional body in order to progress in your spiritual body. You understand? A quote kind comes to mind that mind is the only thing that uses itself to understand itself. So you're gonna use your mind to understand your mind, and then you're gonna understand your heart, and then you're gonna understand your spirit. That is the journey that you are uh, taking, and that is the big shift that is happening in your life. Mindfulness, stairway to personal power. So that is what. Oh yeah, I have one more thing to do for you. I'm gonna read a message for you based on the card that you got in the middle. It might resonate for some people. It is from a book that I own. So let's see. Let's read the card for you. Wait. Literally. So you have the gorilla. Where is the gorilla? I hope yes, we do have gorilla. So the message for you is clear and concise communication is very important at this time. So listen carefully and speak sparingly and articulately. More than ever, it's crucial to respect yourself and extend that respect to everyone you come in contact with. An important teacher is about to come into your life, one who is wise and knowledgeable yet unpretentious. You will be experiencing a heightened sense of clairaudience, so listen closely for messages and signs that come through hearing. Take some action about your environmental concerns, whether recycling or otherwise actively participating in cleaning up the environment. Yeah, so a lot of communitarian efforts, I see. Coming together with the community to do something for the world, yes, and that will get you out of this energy. You remember I told you this story about how there was a hurricane, and then she shifted her energy. She was sad, but then she was no longer depressed. When you're probably communicating with spirit, like, show me a way, show me a way, I feel so stuck, and spirit is going to deliver it through some community effort, or bringing your focus, bringing your attention to some crisis that needs resolution, and you'll come together with the community to help the community, and that will help you move out of this energy. Wow. You might emerge as one of those people who's very important, very involved with communitarian causes, or some important causes, environmental causes that brings communities and peoples together, and you will be like people together, and you will be very involved, and you probably emerge as somebody people will look up to. You will probably emerge as you come into your personal power when you realize how necessary you are for this world and your community. Okay, so that was the reading for you, group 3. If the reading resonated with you, you can always let me know in the comments. I love reading your comments. And if the reading resonated with you, if you liked it, do give a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to hear or get more readings like this. Otherwise, I will see you in some other reading sometime very, very soon. Take care.